Hey guys, this is your second video, step 3 of your lesson today. We're going to talk about craft and structure, which is what we've already talked about earlier in the year, and we talked briefly about yesterday. Craft and structure is how a text is organized and the wording that the authors choose to use, how they craft it, how they organize it. So the words they choose to use in their story, and also how it is structured, how it's written, how it's built. You have 3 different pictures here. This is the plot diagram that we talked about yesterday. We have plot, story, and theme. This is all has to do with the craft and structure, and remember theme. The moral or lesson that the character and the reader learn from the story. All right, so theme. This refers to the central idea or message of a story. It is usually somewhat hidden, so authors often do not come out and say, hey, this is the theme of the story. We have to infer as readers, we have to infer what the theme is by the character's actions and the words that are said. Another part of structure is a setting. This refers to the time or place that a story takes place. So remember yesterday we talked about how settings can change. They often change from one location to the next. And settings could be fictional, they could be real settings. They could change time periods if the character is having a flashback of something that happened earlier in their life. And then your plot we looked at yesterday also. That's your story mountain or your plot. That includes the exposition, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. Each of those parts are events that take place in the story. Authors tend to be purposeful people. They do not throw random facts into the stories. Rather, sentences, paragraphs, and entire chapters are written for a reason. So they choose the wording that they choose, or they write the paragraph that they write, or that sentence that they feel that they needed for a reason. They are designed to help the reader fully understand the story. It may be to show how a character trait, or it may be to show what the setting is truly like. But all of those things are written for a purpose. As a good reader, you need to ask yourself, does it help establish the setting? So, do these parts of the story help to establish that setting, to show what the setting is like? Or does the part or sentence contribute to the theme of the story? You could probably pick out places and stories. Like, let's think about Everything Will Be Okay with Jack and the kitten. There's a part that we can pick out where he realizes that he doesn't want to be like his brothers and his dad. That is the part that we start figuring out, okay, the theme is starting to develop. And then at the end, when he says, I will not work for Dr. Milk, I will not go hunting, that also contributes to the theme. Those words right there contribute to the theme because the theme of that particular story was that you can be your own person. Where does it fit in the plot? Is it the rising action, the climax, the resolution? Does it help to move the plot along? Okay, think about and yeah, let's go back to Everything Will Be Okay. That part in Everything Will Be Okay, we're introduced to Jack in that moment when that's kind of the introduction part of the problem, because he sees the kitten and it's wounded and sick, and it has the poor kitten's eyes are just all matted together because he's so sick. So we're already figuring out what kind of character he is in the exposition in the beginning of the story. Jack is a very caring person and wants to help this kitten. And then we look at, why did the author include it? Well, I personally think that part of the story, to show how he reacts to finding the kitten and how he tells the kitten everything's going to be okay, is important because it's setting up for, we can see Jack is very different than his brothers and his dad, but Jack doesn't realize he's that different. So as a reader, we can see and set that up that, oh, Jack is going to realize, I'm not like my dad. I'm not like my brothers. I am different. Okay, let's look at the Song of Bravery that we read last week, I think. Let's look at stanza 3. It says, maybe I didn't do all I could, or maybe I did, but there were others who did more. Maybe I will never know. Ask yourself, how does it fit into the overall poem? Why is that part so important? Is it there to move the story along, that plot along? Does it establish a setting? Or does it support the theme? I definitely think that it does move the story along, the plot along. But I think, too, that it supports the theme. I don't see anything to do with the setting in there. So, what do you think? What I want you to do is I want you to complete the Google form. It's a brief form for craft and structure. The activity will be taken for a grade. It will be step 4 in your e-class, and it is, I think I said this, it is a Google form. So just complete it and submit it, and then once you're done with that, you are done with language arts for the day. All right, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday.